Hello, it is Wednesday, which means it's Write It Out Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. And this is Wednesday where we put you back at the top of your writing list. My name is Valerie McDowell. I'm a writer, editor, and a book coach accelerator. And I work with writing challenge clients and speakers and busy professionals helping you get their stories told and your books published. And tonight, lots of things are going on. I told you there was going to be an announcement. And the announcement is that because of some new things that we're adding, I share with you guys that we're growing. So we're adding some new people to the team. And so we're having to do things a little bit differently. But we're going to be doing Write It Out Wednesday a little earlier. So you'll be able to check in with me a little earlier. So we're going to move from 9:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Okay. And hopefully that's a good time for you guys. On the first and third Wednesdays. So I'm going to keep you abreast of, hey, we're coming on this week, so that you don't get confused with the dates. Instead of every Wednesday, it's going to be the first and third Wednesdays. And then that way, you have a little bit of time to work on your book, so when you come back, you can tell me all the great things that you've been doing with your books. So I'll be posting that a little later. And plus, when things happen, like I'm growing, I'm taking another class, so I need to grow and learn some new things so that I can help you guys do better, get some better platforms for publishing. Some things that have happened even in the pandemic is that some of our publishing platforms have been taking a lot of time to get our books together. And so we're not having that. It's like we need to look at some other things. And so that's part of the process, making sure that we have the right people on board, we have the right platforms for you, and that we get your books written, printed, and done. So I have a great topic tonight. I just also got off another call where I'm being trained and learning new things. And so our topic tonight is how to win at writing your book. How to win at writing your book. And I wanted to bring this up. I actually am borrowing this from a podcast I did. So I'm becoming like the podcast queen, people, because I think I've done about 4 or 5 now. And I'm like, am I like, Miss Podcast Queen now? So anyway, it was fun. It actually was with one of my authors. So as soon as it's available, I will post it on the page. But again, our topic tonight is how to win at writing your book. And it flows into 3 really nice points that I want to talk about, which I shared, like I said, yesterday. And it really speaks to what's happening in my life. And I would venture to say that in some of your lives too, because sometimes there's a word that we need to say that we may be afraid to say because of what's happening, that we may feel a little trepidation. We may be afraid. I was just talking to someone about a young lady experiencing her first time away from home. But the answer to the question is yes. Okay. And we're using that as an acronym tonight, YES. And so those are going to be my 3 points. We're going to see what that acronym is talking about. So like I said, thank you for joining me. We come here on Wednesday nights. We're going to be doing a little shifting. So starting next week, okay, we're going to be on at 6:30, and then it's going to be the first and third Wednesdays, okay? First and third. So tonight we're talking about how to win at writing your book using the acronym YES. Okay, so why? What is the Y for? What is that letter Y for? And it's for yield, okay? Yield. Are you writing that down? Because I wanted to use that word yield because when life starts to shift, as I just shared, it's been doing for me, we don't want to be inflexible or resistant to that change, okay? We don't want to be, hey, Stephanie, good to see you. But we want to yield, okay? And the same is true with your book. Sometimes we are dead set on a title, an idea, or the subject matter. But no matter how many words we write, how far we get into that book, it's just something about it that's just not right. And part of it is because we're trying to force something, because we want to do it our way. But often what we have to do is take a step back, and breathe, take a deep breath, because sometimes that thing that you want to do needs to be done just a little bit different. That we can have an image in our mind. We can have this list. I know that, you've probably heard about it with dating, having a list. He's got to have this, that, or she's got to have this. But sometimes, you can be a little too rigid and you miss out on something that's great for you. And so I would say the same thing with your book, that sometimes you have to yield to what's actually coming up out of you. That often that story that you need to tell is the story that's like in your heart that needs to come out. That no matter what's happening in your life, parts of that story keeps leaking out. And so that's the one that needs to be told. Not that one where you see your name in lights and it's this, that, and the other, but it's that story that maybe brought some tears out or caused you to have to shift some things in your life that you weren't quite ready for. So yield is a great word on what we need to do in the process of writing our book. Because if we yield to the process, the words will come. When we take a deep breath, when we take a step back, it'll start to flow. And that's what we really need. Because I'm a big proponent, and my mentor, has shared this concept with us that we should be doing things with ease and grace. Ease and grace. And even in all the chaos and confusion that can sometimes occur in our world, or even in our day or our home, what can you do to walk in ease and grace? What can you do to not allow what's going on externally to come inside of you internally? Because you do have control over that. And so today's word for why is yield, okay? Our first point is yield. And I'm not even going to be before you long. You only have 3 letters, right? And so we've got just 3 points. So why for yield, okay? And then the E. What is the E for? Okay? It's to evaluate. We need to evaluate what's going on. What are we writing? What are we working on? What are we doing? We need to evaluate some things to make sure that what we're doing is the right thing that we need to do. That sometimes that we haven't really sat down. Did you write the outline? Is it the right thing? Is it, have you created your table of contents? And I often give my writers, an assessment, or in particular, a list of questions that they have to answer that talks about, why do you want to do this? Why now? What's your motivation? So we evaluate some of the reasons why we are where we are, what we're doing, what we need to do, so that the product that we come up with is the exact thing that we need to do. So evaluate, okay? So we want to yield and we want to evaluate. And then the third thing we want to do is share, okay? Is share. And share what you're doing. Okay, a lot of times we're hiding stuff like, I don't want anybody to know, like you're in middle school and you covering up your page. You don't want somebody to see your answers on the test. And so you need to share, because how else will anybody know about this brilliant, wonderful thing that you're doing? And yes, it can be a little scary to put it all out there, and you can have, just a little, anxiety about it. But the thing is, if you don't put it out there, nobody's going to know you're doing this. And particularly when it comes to your book, you have worked for 6 months or 9 months and you've been cranking this, and I've been calling you, and we've been setting deadlines and all this kind of stuff. So you don't want to do all that work, and we put a lovely cover on it and we lay it out real nice and we get your name on it and everything, and then you're like, I don't want to talk about it. I just wanted to do it. And that's fine, but let someone know. Tell your family, tell your friends, broadcast it on social media. But you have to let somebody know what you're doing, okay? Because no one will know. There are many people who go around, it's like, I don't know why they didn't use me. I can do this, that, and the other. Well, does anybody know you can do that? That sometimes people don't know what you can do until you tell them. And it's not their job to have to dig and search and hunt and hide and come with a big bright light. Open your mouth. Write it down. This is what I do. It's like I tell you every week, I'm a writer, I'm an editor, I'm a book coach, I'm a publisher, I'm a dancer, I'm a traveler, I read lots of books. So tell people what you do. Let them know what's going on so that, you can say YES to the things that are coming your way. There's so many good things that will come your way if you say yes. Okay. And even let me add another E to that, like double E. Okay. Expect. Okay. The word is expect. Expect that sometimes there's going to be some things that are uncomfortable, that you don't feel good about. And particularly because it's new. We often say we don't want to do something, or we don't want to go somewhere, or we don't want to, take something because we're unfamiliar with it. It's uncomfortable. And even it's something we may not even like. But often what's new is going to be uncomfortable because it's new to you. But once you start doing it, it's like, again, the young lady who's in a new environment, she's never been there before. She was uncomfortable. But now that she's, making some friends, meeting some people, after a while, it's going to be like, is she coming home? And that's what happens. Once we get, comfortable doing something and we start, allowing the gifts to work themselves out, you've realized that you are in the right place, that this is the thing you needed to do. So expect there to be some, level of uncomfortableness, when you try new things, but always know that that means you're growing. When that baby's crying and screaming and stretching out of their clothes, it's because they're growing. It's because they're becoming a new person. And that's the same thing for you. So tonight's Write It Out has been about saying yes, yielding, expecting, evaluating, and sharing what it is that you know. There's so many things that you can do, and writing your book is just one of them. Telling your story is just one of them, because there's so much in you. You might have a whole plethora of books that you can write, but the thing is, you got to get it out. You have to say yes. And even for me, I said yes to something really big this week, and it actually, solidified today. And it was like, it was like a giant step, like, woo. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And sometimes, even the book coach, I have to get out of my way and go towards the thing that I've never done before, and be in a place and do something I've never done before, and have a greater expectation of what I can do, but it's also because of the people I'm connecting to who are already there, who can teach me things I don't know, who can help me become better at what I do so that I can be better for you. So I just want to come with you with the word yes today, okay? And I want you to write it out by saying yes. What will you say yes to, today? What will you say yes to tomorrow? What will you say yes to for the rest of this year? It's like everything is not pandemic, coronavirus, COVID-19, related. There's still some great things going on in your life, and you need to say yes to it. So don't be afraid, It's like, or as they say, feel the fear and do it anyway. It's like, because anything you haven't done before, you haven't done before. And once you do it, then you've done it. I've told people, until I travel to certain places, I had never been there before. But now that I've been there, I know I want to go back, or I want to go somewhere else. I want to, have that same experience somewhere else. And it's the same with you. Once you step out of that comfort zone, once you get out of that place that keeps you restricted, it's like you'll realize that there's so much more to life than just where you are. So say yes to yourself. Say yes to doing something new. Say yes to writing that book this year. Say yes to signing up before midnight, okay? Because I've got a special going on right now, because there's going to be some price adjustments. So if you want to get your book done this year, go on and get on my calendar. I'll put a link down below that we can get you on the schedule so you can get written, printed, and published in 2020, if that's what you want to do. Or we can do it in 2021. But in any case, I want you to get your book published, because I want you to story. You want to get your story told. It's been sitting in your heart, your mind, your soul way too long. Not only has it been months or years, it's been decades. So let's just wrap it up and get it going. And for some of you, it's time to get book number 2 started, okay? So I'm Valerie McDowell, your writer, editor, and book coach accelerator. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. And I'll see you next week at 6:30 for Book Coach Accelerator. Write it out. See you then.